Good morning. So getting right into it, Inkling had a fun night Monday evening at the Lincoln Center. We introduced some really cool stuff, and I'm going to recap for you in 10 minutes what I did in an hour on Monday without involving speed talking. Now, if you don't know Inkling, we are a team of about 100 people out in San Francisco building technology to enable what we think is a more creative future for publishing. Now, to understand the future, I think we have to look back. 1796, the first big thing that happened after the advent of the Gutenberg press, right, was good old lithography. It allowed us to introduce images into the book, and publishers had to adjust the way they created their works. The 1800s, with the cylinder press and linotype, we could rapidly produce and broadly distribute information, and that gave rise to the magazine and the newspaper. And then, of course, everybody in this room is familiar with the 1980s and 90s with computerized layout. Now, all of these technologies profoundly changed the way that publishers had to build what they built. But if you fast forward to today, something about 2013 feels a little bit different. And if you really pause and think about all of the technology changes from Gutenberg to today, they were about the method. They were about how we built books. Call it a newspaper, call it a magazine. It was about getting knowledge onto paper. And actually, this transition that we're in the middle of right now has only actually happened 3 times in human history. We started with the oral tradition. We spoke to each other to communicate. We then learned how to do manuscripts by writing. The second transition was from writing to print, and we're now moving from print to electronic. That sort of medium change is rare. It's only happened 3 times, and a new dominant medium has arrived. Now, it's not just about the iPad. You know this. It's already been mentioned, the 5-year history since the advent of the Kindle, and 5 years in the context of 550 is not a whole lot. We think that this new dominant medium changes everything, and with it comes the unbinding of the book model. The idea that how we build, how we sell, how we discover, everything that we have learned how to do as an industry over 500 years comes unbound. But with that change comes tremendous opportunity. And I want to take a second to look at where we stand in capturing that new opportunity. And you can't talk about where we stand without talking about one entity in particular: Amazon. Now, I'm the underdog. It's my job to nip at the heels. But when you look at the state of the industry today, we're all kind of beholden to this one master. They control our customers. 30% of all book revenue last year came through Amazon. 1 in 4 people online bought something from them. They control our price. Even the Department of Justice has backed them up in their ability to price however they want, no matter what it does to the value of your intellectual property. And they control our product. And I want to pause for a moment on the notion of product, because we're essentially forced to build products that are never more than just a $10 text file. Now, a $10 text file is a pretty constraining product model and a pretty huge step back from where we were in print. So what are we going to do about it? Now, it's not such a bad idea for novels. We've all read a novel on a Kindle. I have. I use it, love it. It's a great product. It works very well for the monograph. But when you move beyond text to anything else, something that requires images or even just tables, it doesn't work so well. So I sat down with my Kindle app and I looked at some images mixed with text, and it didn't really work. I looked at headlines split across screen lengths, funny colors. I looked at diagrams with letters that didn't really correspond to anything, and I don't know what this one was, but this was all real. So if this is where we are today with the product model, it's pretty obvious that for the $24 billion with a B dollars spent on content that included something more than text in 2011, that there is a lot more room in the digital transition for that kind of content. So this is your content. This is your content on Kindle. Any questions? I love my Kindle. It just ain't right for this kind of content. So what happens to this stuff? Does it just go away? Are we just going to give it away for free? Yeah, you can learn how to light the pilot on your heater with a YouTube video, but do you want to build the patio out back with a YouTube video, or do you want trustworthy content? We believe that people want trustworthy, curated content, and we need a new product model to enable that. We think that to move the industry forward, we have to do two important things differently. Number one, we have to build differently. We have to build for the medium. We can't build books and repurpose them for digital. I know I'm preaching to the choir. The industry hasn't really started to do that yet. And we have to sell differently. We can't rely on one empire to control who finds and buys your content. So that's why we built Inkling Habitat. And on Monday night, we shipped it, and it's available for free today at habitat.inkling.com. I want everyone here to go and kick the tires and tell us how we're doing. We still have a lot to learn. It is the world's first, and as far as we know, only professional digital publishing environment built from the ground up for collaboration.
Human beings are innately creative. It's a natural impulse. From the moment we learn how to speak, we learn how to create. We do our best work not when we work alone, but when we work together. And publishing is no exception. Books aren't just text and images anymore. They're also videos and slideshows and interactivity. We're creating a whole new medium. It's a whole new kind of book. And if we're going to reinvent the book, we have to reinvent the creative process that goes into building that book. We needed an environment where everybody could work together, so we built Inkling Habitat. And whether you're an editor, or a designer, or a developer, Habitat is built to let your team work as if you're all sitting in the same room, even if you're halfway across the planet. Inside Habitat, it's really easy to make comments and point out changes and assign tasks to others. And it's really easy to edit the content. It's even easy to edit the code. And what's really cool is that you can see how your content will look on multiple devices. And when you're done, with a single click, you can publish the final version pretty much anywhere. You could look at this moment in time and say that the book is dying. Or you could look at it and see a whole new world of opportunity. I think there's never been a more exciting time to be in publishing. To build things that are beautiful. To build things that we're proud of. And that's why we built Inkling Habitat.
So I first showed Inkling Habitat a little bit on stage here last year, and I'm not going to do it again. There's a ton more stuff in it. Please go check it out. I want to talk a little bit about the sell half of this equation and how we're going to sell differently. Because once you build beautiful things like that, people have to be able to find it. Now, when books come unbound, there's an opportunity to bring that content out to people where they are. And if you look across the existing distribution channels that we're all familiar with, Nook, iBooks, and Kindle, they all have one thing in common. They're all walled gardens. So you have to go in to look for information, and once you're in there and you find that information, it's very difficult to take that information somewhere else. And at the same time, the world's most trafficked storefront for information isn't any of these places. It's actually Google. We all search Google for information much more than we would ever search an ebook marketplace. And when you search Google, you don't really find much in the way of commercial book contents. Now you find product pages and you'll find references to books, but the actual content of the books is locked up between two pages, and we want to change that. So on Monday night, we started to talk about the Inkling Content Discovery Platform, and I want to show it to you. Now, the Content Discovery Platform lets you bring content out of the book and out onto the internet where people exist. So here on my Mac, I'm in Google, and I'm just going to type in a search. Now, let's say that last night I went out to dinner with some friends. The sommelier made some very interesting wine pairing decisions while we were eating. So I'm going to type in sommelier wine pairing decisions. And there's my results. Now you'll see the very first organic result in Google is actually one card from within one Inkling title chosen from among all content on the internet. And when I click it, it instantly snaps me into the content itself. Not a product page, not a login window. It takes me to the actual content. And all of the interactivity is intact. I can tap on terms that are defined. I can see there's a play button to see pronunciations. I can watch a video. And I have a buy now button. So you can see that when people are searching for knowledge, not necessarily books, they can still find great curated book content with a click from within Google. But almost half of all searches today happen on mobile devices, so how does it look like there? Well, here I am on my iPhone, and I'll pop into Safari, and I'm going to type in a kind of a weird search phrase. I'm going to type in backless bench posture. And the reason I'm typing something so weird is because this one was actually driving traffic into our content discovery platform. I had no idea what this meant, but Google figured it out. The very first hit is one card from inside one Inkling title, in this case, a dummies book. And sure enough, it takes us to piano for dummies, because what people really mean by backless bench posture is how do I sit in front of my piano on a backless bench. So in a minute here, it loads up the content, and you can see all of this card from within a dummies book, showing me diagrams for how to sit at the bench, et cetera, et cetera. And then if I want to buy it, of course, I can tap, and it pops me into the store. Now, discovery isn't just about search. It's also about social. So what if I want to share this content with friends? Well, I'll stay on my iPhone, and I'll pop out into Inkling on my iPhone. And you can see here I'm in a really cool O'Reilly book. It's really actually nerdy as heck. It's Cooking for Geeks. So if you've ever seen this book, it's actually pretty darn cool. Let's say I find something compelling about this card on kitchen equipment, knives, et cetera, and I want to share it. Well, I tap the share button in the top right corner, and up pops Facebook, Twitter, et cetera. I hit Twitter, grabs me a unique link, and I can hit send, and it tweets. Good. Now we're back here on the Mac, and we come out to Twitter. And I'll refresh, and sure enough, there's the tweet I just made. And when I click it, it does just what you saw it do from Google. It snaps me right back into a free preview of this specific card in this specific book to everyone following me on Twitter. And the same, of course, done for Facebook or any social network with the ability to go in and buy the content. A very quick preview of the Inkling content discovery platform. Anytime you use Inkling Habitat to build for Inkling, you automatically have your content pushed out into Google's index and made available for people to share socially. So back to the slides. So Inkling Habitat is a new way to build, and the Inkling content discovery platform is a new way to sell. We think it's moving the industry forward. Now, how has this performed? We've only had this on for 6 weeks. So it is early, but we have been blown away by the amount of traffic and revenue that we've been able to drive around this content. We turned the switch on in the middle of December, and this is what Google has driven. The conversion rates have been amazing. We have seen more than 2x what you'd expect from a conversion rate on a paid ad, and all of this traffic is free. It's also a meritocracy. The best content surfaces to the top on its own. You don't need someone else to promote it for you. And of course, there's no Amazon between you and your customer. This is free for anyone who uses the platform, so we think it will be pretty broadly adopted, especially given that Habitat lets you take your content out of Inkling and actually bring it to Amazon, iBooks, and Nook royalty-free. So it's a new way to build with Inkling Habitat and a new way to sell with the Inkling content discovery platform. And I hope you guys stop by the booth and check it out. The workshops we're doing today at the conference are available for sign-up. You can actually get your hands on Habitat and try it for yourself. Enjoy it, and I look forward to building the future of publishing with all of you in 2013. Thanks.